I'll just open up with this ad right here.
America is at war with a fanatical regime that seeks nuclear weapons. American hero Ed Gallrein stands with President Trump, our country, and our military. Thomas Massie, he stands with Iran and radical leftists in Congress, opposing Trump, just like he did on the border and taxes. Now, Kentuckians have a choice: Gallrein and Trump, or Thomas Massie. The RJC Victory Fund is responsible for the content of this advertising.
God bless. They're good. You got to give it to them, man. It's good stuff.
So there was a speech, and at the rally, by the way, which they had to bus people into, it was not like a huge crowd or anything. So that's like your first indication that this is not going that well for this campaign. I think tops, you're looking at 1,000 people at this rally for Trump in Kentucky.
That's interesting.
With respect to tax cuts, and I just described what every single Democrat in Congress voted against it. Every single one, not one voted for it. They want tax increases, along with just one Republican voted against. You know what the name is? He is the worst person. His name is, what the hell? How did he ever end up in Kentucky? His name is Thomas Massie. How did he ever end up here, Paul? Anyway.
Do they have signs
no,
like
Massie
on
voted
sitcoms
against
where
tax
they're
cuts
telling the
for
crowd to boo?
I don't think they need to at that moment. I mean,
They're
this
holding
is a
up
selected
the cue
audience
cards.
to be there. Boo.
Boo.
He voted against tax cuts for overtime workers, and he voted against tax cuts for earners, tip earners. No, he wanted to increase the taxes. He voted with the Democrats. He voted against our historic funding for...
So that, just to start,
Lie number one.
It's a very annoying thing. Yeah, so we got one thing. Not only did he say he voted against these things, he actually then goes further and says he wanted to increase taxes. All right, so that's, that's
Which
a big
is
lie right there.
Absolutely not true.
And this is the issue with these big, like these massive omnibus type bills where they just have all sorts of stuff thrown in. And this one was done in reconciliation. That means you didn't have to hit the 60 vote threshold in the Senate. Just everyone keep that in mind. I think there's a big difference in voting like against the bill, but then, actually being against the idea of keeping taxes where they are or cutting some of those taxes. Like those are multiple different things. There's a lot of stuff in this bill. It does cut a lot of taxes. It did also spend a bunch of extra money on certain things
That we don't have.
They tried to do like some spending cuts in the bill, like things for SNAP and all that. But of course, the issue with the bill, as we see with a lot of bills, is that it immediately approved like the spending of the money. We're going to definitely spend this money, and we're definitely going to keep these taxes cut for a limited amount of time, limited thresholds on
We're not going to codify any of the
people.
Doge cuts.
Not going to, yeah, of course. And then the actual cuts that are in the bill are supposed to kick in sometime after the next Congress gets in. Just so everyone keeps that in mind, like the cuts to offset a little bit of that, the cuts people were happy about, the bulk of those things are supposed to kick in after the Democrats clearly take over Congress here in November. And we're all supposed to be like, oh yeah, they're definitely going to keep all them cuts for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're definitely going to do that.
Which is so weird because the Republicans control the House, the Senate, and the presidency right now. If they wanted to get these cuts in right now, they could absolutely do it.
Yeah.
So what's holding them back?
They don't want to do it is the answer to that.
And they'll get to blame the Democrats come December, January.
It's very dangerous for these people because you start making cuts like that. I mean, how are you going to get all your special little projects done, And then the other dangerous...
How are you going to get reelected?
Yeah, the dangerous thing for us is they expand the budget for a bunch of these things. And what do you think? It's going to be like a temporary expansion of the budget for these particular items?
I haven't seen the budget come down.
No.
In a long time.
Even if they spend it for whatever, like border wall, whatever, for DHS, all this stuff, for ICE and everything, you get all the illegal immigrants out of the country. They'll find something else to spend that money on to make sure that they keep getting that amount of money. They won't be able to survive without it. It just won't be possible. And so, got to keep all that stuff in mind. But there's no reason to lie about it. And that's why they do these massive bills instead of doing single issue bills. So they can throw some good stuff in there, a couple good things, and then a whole bunch of crappy stuff on top of it. And then they basically hold you hostage afterwards and say, well, if you vote against this, you're voting against the good things that are in the bill, not the bad things. That means you're against the good things that are in the bill. And that's just the way Washington works, I guess.
Border security. He voted against border security, where we took the worst border in the history of our country and made it the best border in the history of our country in 2.5 months. He voted against it.
Now, we did that by Trump just deciding that they were going to enforce the border. They didn't take that extra money that was in the bill. He was like, hey, we got laws. We got people policing the border. We've got asylum policies, stuff like that. We've got used to be remain in Mexico. Now we're not doing that. And Trump just decided that we were going to enforce the border. It didn't take the bill to do that. They just shut down the illegal crossings over the border. Okay, so that's not even what he's voting against there. Trump had already shut it down by that time. Okay.
And he voted against eligibility verification for welfare recipients. Nobody has to be eligible. Just pick up whatever you want. The people in this room don't like that. Thomas Massie also voted with the radical left Democrats in Congress to keep the federal government shut down during the open border crusade while our military went without pay. He voted for our military not to get that pay. And now, Massie.
I love this thing that all of a sudden Trump is using the government shutdown. Remember back in the old days, he used to be like, yeah, shut it down. We're going to hold the line on this thing right here. Now it's like, oh, you support a shutdown? You must hate the troops. God, these people.
He's the worst. And I don't say that. I never hit a guy like this. The guy's the most. We call him Rand Paul Jr. He votes against everything. But at least I like Rand a little bit. Can't love a guy that votes. I got him elected twice. If I didn't endorse him, he was not going to get elected. Do you remember that? I came and I did a little rally, and Rand votes against us all the time.
Does anyone think that's true?
Didn't Rand get
Rand was
elected?
already in office.
Yeah, before.
What are you talking about?
Right.
I'm too, but at least he's okay. I wouldn't say the greatest. And now Thomas Massie is attacking a great Navy SEAL hero. This is a real hero, Ed Gallrein, who's running against him in the primary. You know why?
What?
Ed Gallrein, a yes man.
Yes.
That's who he is.
He's specifically a yes man. And that's what people want. That's what Trump cares about. We'll talk about here in a minute the fact that it looks like Gallrein left the Republican Party in disgust over Trump. And now they're trying to cope on this right now and say, no, he left the Republican Party because he was disgusted with Massie. And he specifically left the Republican Party in disgust over Massie from the time Trump won the nomination to the time Biden took office. Just while Trump was the figurehead of the Republican Party was when he was disgusted with Thomas Massie. Yep. And people.
So now he's back to defeat Thomas Massie.
Because he's not doing right for our president. He didn't want to run for office. He's a hero. He's a farmer hero. He's a tremendous war hero, but he's a farmer right here. He's like central casting. I said, this is the guy I'm looking. I want to just give me somebody with a warm body to beat Massie. And I got somebody with a warm body, but a big, beautiful brain and a great patriot. He's unbelievable. And he did it because he said he's disrespecting our country. He votes against everything. And Ed became an independent a few years ago because he was so angry at the way the Republican Party was operating, and I don't disagree with him. Other people...
He was angry at how they were operating. They nominated Trump.
Under Trump.
For president. Yeah, that's he was angry about the way they were operating.
This reminds me, have you seen, most of you guys out there have probably seen the campaign, hopefully.
Yeah.
It just reminds me that they have a team of people. They went out to pick Ed Gallrein.
Yeah.
And there's a few things in his past, but they're like, we could, twist this or whatever. And they get this guy all shaped up like, you're going to be a star, and they get him all hopped up. And then he's like, I don't really like Trump. He's like, no, it doesn't matter. Like, you're going to like Trump. You'll be a yes man. You'll be a star. You just listen to us. Your family's taken care of. Here's a couple $100 million that will pass through different shell companies and special interests. You're going to be set up for life. Your grandkids will be set up for life. It's the perfect deal. And Ed's just the type of American patriot to be like, yep, sign me up for that.
Well, he even said, like, he said Ed was like right out of central casting. That's sort of quiet part out loud stuff right there. Like, yeah, you went and picked an actor to read your script for you. Like that's basically what you picked. And yeah, you picked a guy who was a military veteran and it was going to be a yes man for you and for whoever it is that's funding this whole thing. I don't want to get into that whole thing. Not that it matters.
But then Ed came back, and he came back strong because I got involved, and he came back stronger than he ever was, and now he's all the way, he's in this part.
I can't let this go. He came back strong because I got involved. Dude, he literally left while you were involved and came back after you were gone. He left when you got nominated. And then he came back after Biden took office, after the election. He didn't come back because you got involved. He came back because you were no longer involved. Okay. Sorry.
And he's in it. And he said, I came back because of the strength and wisdom that Donald Trump displayed. And I appreciate that. That's a nice, I think I'm going to use him in an ad. I think I'll use that statement. I'm going to use that statement in an ad. Strength and wisdom. I put wisdom in quotes because I didn't say it, he did. But many people have joined and rejoined our party, but Massie did not because he only votes no. He just votes no.
Massie's literally a part of the party. Massie's part of the party the whole time.
He's been a Republican.
He didn't leave the party.
Yeah. He was there for your first term, Biden's term, and now your second term.
Massie didn't rejoin the party because he didn't leave the party.
Use that in an ad.
The best things in the history of a Republican voter, and he'd vote no. There's something wrong with him. It'll be interesting to see what he does with the Save America Act, which is very simply, I think he has to vote for it, but he's a nut job, so you never know. All voters
By the way,
must
all
show
the
voter
while,
ID.
all the while, Thomas Massie has voted with the Republican Party 91% of the time.
Yeah, somewhere around that number. And Massie has not been against the SAVE Act at all. This is smart on his part. He's not saying that Massie's against the SAVE Act. He's insinuating that Massie might be against the SAVE Act, but he has to vote for it anyway because it'd be a political suicide if he didn't, as if Massie has shown that he cared about that whatsoever, literally up here, because Massie will just go against whatever Trump or the party wants him to do. That's why this rally's happening right now.
It makes you wonder, like, what drives Thomas Massie? What drives this nut job to vote the way he does? Oh, the Constitution? That's weird.
That's one.
That's weird that a representative in Congress would, I don't know, list the Constitution as his top priority for the way he votes.
It's like the thing that he took an oath to uphold.
That'd be weird.
That thing?
Yeah.
Yeah, it'd be kind of weird.
For illness, disability, military, or travel, you're away. You can't get there. We'll be generous. No men in women's sports. Gender mutilization surgery for our children. That's it.
We should not let people mutilize their children.
That's it. And I think we're going to get it approved in the House. And I hear the Senate has a hard time. How can you have a hard time with that? How can you have a hard time? But Massie wants to vote no But on this one, he may be forced. I mean, how can you do it? So I just want to say this.
He wants to vote no.
Thomas Massie is a disaster for our party. He comes from a state that I won by a landslide, got the highest vote in the history of your Commonwealth. The highest vote. I got the highest vote. That means that people like me, and I love them. I love them. I love them more than they love me, but I still got the highest. Remember with your mother, I love you more than you love me. We revert back to childhood.
Yeah.
But Massie's a complete
like a
and
child.
total disaster as a congressman and, frankly, as a human being. You know, he's got one thing going. He went to a good college. But I know a lot of stupid people that went to a good college. And my uncle was the longest serving professor in the history of that particular college, university, MIT. 41 years. My uncle was there 41 years. So that means I have much better blood if you go by that. But I went to the hardest college of all to get into, the Wharton School of Finance. That means I'm real smart. We got to get rid of this loser. This guy is bad. He's
Wait, I thought there's a lot of stupid people that went to good colleges.
Yeah, I thought.
disloyal to the Republican Party. He's disloyal to the people of Kentucky. And most importantly, he is disloyal to the United States of America.
No, he's only
And he's gotta
disloyal
be-
to Trump.
Yeah, that's what
That's-
matters.
Yes.
And I guess you could say he's disloyal to the Republican Party. If the Republican Party decides to like go against what their principles are supposed to be or what they preach they're going to do or like the Constitution that they pretend to care about, it says...
What's funny is Massie votes more in line with like Trump's campaign
Well, yeah.
than
Yeah.
Trump's policies.
Yeah. That's...
It's like, dude, I'm just going along with what you told the people we were
It's like,
going to
I
do.
wrote it down during the campaign and I said, I am going to be loyal to these things.
Yeah. You're the one switching it up.
And the
I
thing
can't
he's
wait
not...
to watch Ed speak.
The thing he's not disloyal to is the Constitution. He doesn't mention that at all. I don't know if Trump really ever talks about that, but that is what Massie swore an oath
He's smart.
to uphold. Yeah, he is smart. You don't mention that. You say the United States of America, but I guess being loyal to the Constitution makes you disloyal to the United States of America in 2026.
Yeah.
That's just how
Which,
it is.
He voted out
which their founding document is
Yeah.
the Constitution.
It makes sense, right? Yeah.
of office as soon as possible. On the other hand, Ed Gallrein has my complete and total endorsement. He's a true American hero, and he's a great patriot, and he's doing it because he saw what this guy was doing to our country, and he said, I'm going to run. He's now a farmer, successful farmer, and I can tell you, he's strong as hell. He shook my hand. My hand is still recovering. Sir, I'd like to shake your hand. Absolutely. Hold him back. I didn't tell him that, you know. I'm telling him now officially. Ed, would you come up for a minute, please?
Nice toupee.
Mr. President, welcome to Kentucky and thanks for coming to the heartland. Because you are loved and admired here for your courageous leadership of our great nation at such a critical time in history. Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you. This is the land of we the people, right here. I want to thank you for your endorsement, because once you did that, my support skyrocketed. So I look forward to serving to the people as their representative of Kentucky District 4. Because as you folks know, you deserve an authentic, true Republican conservative that stands shoulder to shoulder with our president and the Republican Party and against the Democrats who are trying to destroy our nation.
Democrats trying to destroy our nation. Cletus, get my beer while I'm making this speech.
He's so much worse than I imagined. Like, I thought they would. I mean, it's a terrible speaker.
His hairpiece is awful. They make good ones now, you know, like they make good hairpieces.
It might not be a hairpiece.
Oh, that's a hairpiece. Come on.
Trump's like, I listen, I'll get you to my hairpiece guy.
And he didn't
let
need
me let you know
to have his cousin cut it. You know, that's a mullet Ed there.
There's nothing wrong with this.
With a hairpiece.
Nothing wrong with his wife cutting his hair. The thing about what he just said, like, is so needs someone who, once again, is going to be the standing shoulder to shoulder with President Trump is the only part of that statement that matters. You know,
to Trump,
like being what? Yeah, that's the part that matters. Like a true conservative, which is what he's saying he is. I mean, you look at all the scores. People who don't even support Massie, they're forced to give him like the highest ratings out of everyone. If you want to sit there and say that you don't like his voting record because you wanted this thing to pass, or you think it's a good political move for this thing to pass or for people to support, that's one thing. But don't sit there and pretend like Massie doesn't have a conservative voting record. That's just you lying when you say that.
By the way, I asked AI who the closest Republican or who the closest person in Congress would be today to the founding fathers when it comes to war and budget and everything, like the Constitution. Who would be most like the founding fathers? And I told it to give me one answer, and this was Claude, and I got back Thomas Massie.
Well,
that's the AI answer.
But Charlie, you know how dangerous Anthropic is. That's a woke left company who's a threat to our national security.
They are, yeah.
So, of course, it would say Thomas
They're a
Massie.
supply chain risk.
They are. Has anyone said how they're a supply chain risk?
No.
They're just a supply chain risk? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. We're still not going to talk about that, I guess.
When you're thinking about supply chains,
the
Anthropic
risk to the supply chain
is Anthropic.
Yeah. Number one, Anthropic. Number two, Hezbollah or something like that. I don't know. Here we go.
USA! USA! USA!
USA chants are so much cooler when you don't have to force people to do them.
Yeah.
Like, you know, when people just feel that feeling of
patriotism,
so much patriotism, they need to start chanting USA because they are just filled with the blood of the tree or something.
And fruits of liberty.
Yeah.
The fruit tree
and the knowledge of good and evil. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so like that's when USA chants are cool.
We used
like
to
forcing
we had
a
one
USA
guy. We had one guy that could get him going real good back when we used to play music. His name was Casey. I won't tell you his last name. He's anonymous.
I forgot about that.
Casey would rip off his shirt, start chanting
we used
USA.
to, for some reason, like we're out behind the venue and we're all like loading up gear, hanging out, doing whatever. And for some, like multiple different bands, we just start chanting USA.
Hell yeah, brother.
And then it became sort of a competition for who could be like crazier in that moment. And one guy would take off his shirt, like whipping it around, throwing it on the ground. One time, I think it was me, I pulled off a loose piece of metal from our trailer that had been hanging there, and I just pulled off this big sheet of metal and started slamming it against the trailer.
Yelling
so
USA.
Just went crazy, yelling USA.
And
that
you
was
wanna
cool.
know why? Because you can.
Yeah. Why
it's
not?
America. Those are the real chants.
Yeah.
So, Mr. President, I will stand with you and the party to put America first and Kentucky always.
Hell yeah.
Mr. President, I hope the fake news gets this. Tom Massie stands with the ladies of The View. Tom Massie stands with the ladies of The View. Mr. President, we stand with you. Fight, fight, fight!
He just squeaked a little.
USA! USA!
My God, that is worse than I thought.
Thomas Massie stands with the ladies of The View.
And Mr. President, we stand with you. Yeah, well, it rhymes. They're both verbs.
Yeah. Yeah. He did have his, he had what's known as a
Did
Howard.
he explain anything about what he was going to do besides stand with
Trump.
Stand with Trump.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's going to stand with Trump.
Okay.
That's
any message on how he's going to do that?
He's going to vote for whatever Trump tells him to.
Hey! Why are you such a good United States representative? You're going to be president someday, Ed.
So I vote for whatever you tell me to. All right.
Hey, damn it.
That is the best damn answer I've ever heard. All right.
I'm recommending you for president, Mr. Ed.
Okay. Anyhow, so that's ridiculous. He had what's known as a Howard Dean moment. If you guys don't remember, now
With the squeak.
Yeah. A lot of
He's
people
just too excited, man.
A lot of people bringing this up, but yeah, I mean, listen, it's not
Is
your
that
fault.
his real accent?
I always felt bad for Howard Dean. I actually had some friends who were like supporters of Howard Dean when this happened, as much as you can support people politically when you're a junior in high school or whatever. But I remember they were had Howard Dean shirts on and stuff. And then this happened and everyone was like, oh, that's sad. And so this is I actually don't think Ed's moment is as bad as this one. But here's that moment.
Going to South Carolina and Oklahoma and Arizona and North Dakota and New Mexico. And we're going to California and Texas and New York. And we're going to South Dakota and Oregon and Washington and Michigan. And then we're going to Washington, D.C. to take back the White House.
Oh. Yeah, if Hulk Hogan wasn't dead, he'd have him on the campaign trail.
That's true.
Macho Man Randy Savage.
That's true.
Yeah.
So, where am I going? So the good news from this thing, the kind of funny news from this, and now listen, these are betting markets.
But the day after
it is pretty funny. And honestly, it's fair game for the conversation because yesterday, the day before, some of the big MAGA-bot accounts, like anti-Massie MAGA-bot accounts, were posting on the Kalshi odds. And actually, one of the biggest accounts posted a doctored image of the Kalshi odds. And there's now a community note on that, that Ed Gallrein was up neck and neck with Thomas Massie. And you can see let me zoom in here a little bit. I think the highest he got is right here, according to Kalshi. Massie at 53, Ed Gallrein at 47. And what you see here is as soon as this event is over, and it was kind of leading up to the event, they got closer and closer. And then right when the event was over, Massie shot up and Gallrein shot down. And so now it's sitting at Massie 67 and Gallrein 35. Let me refresh this. I actually think Massie went down some. Nope. I guess he went back up since last time I looked. A little bit closer on Polymarket, I think. That's 64 and 37. Now, these are betting markets. These are not polls.
they were right about the president.
But, I mean,
presidential election. So there you go.
They do tend to get a lot of things right. I'm still going to remain the pessimist on this. It all depends on who shows up to vote, And also, I said beforehand, and this is why I said that beforehand. Does anyone in the group know if Kentucky has an open primary, or when you go there, do you just pull your Republican ballot and you can just vote for that? Register Republican or Republican ballot, or is it just totally open primary? Anyone in the group know? You can let me know. I should have looked that up beforehand. I think that's going to be a big determining factor in the election, and just who's incentivized to go out there and vote. Is it going to be like the hardcore MAGA base Republicans that are going to be out there voting, or is it going to be people that are maybe upset with the way things are going? I don't know. We'll just see what the turnout is.
Right now, no.
Right now, no.
There is a
which?
bill
To
that it's not open.
Not open. Okay.
There is a bill that would open the primaries to independents and being able to vote for either party during the primary, but it won't come in time for this year's May 19 primary.
Okay.
So,
well, that would have helped Massie a little bit if they were open.
11% of Kentucky's voters are registered as independent or with a third party, making them ineligible under current law to vote in the state's partisan primary elections. So,
let me see if there's anything else I pulled up. I think we explained most of that stuff. I just wanted to go through that part of the speech. Massie's got a ad out right now that I believe started running yesterday, talking about Ed Gallrein leaving the party. Let me see.
I'm Thomas Massie, and I approve this message.
Woke Eddie Gallrein and liberal out-of-state special interest groups have run millions in ads trying to tell you how pro-Trump he is. But what they haven't told you is woke Eddie Gallrein abandoned President Trump's Republican Party, a complete dereliction of his MAGA duty. Woke Eddie left the Republican Party right after President Trump won the Republican nomination in May of 2016. Just check his voter registration. That's right, Trump becomes the party leader, the MAGA movement is taking off. Disgusted by what he sees, woke Eddie Gallrein turns his back on Trump and walks away. But it gets even worse. After Eddie Gallrein left Donald Trump's GOP for over 4 years, guess when he finally changed his registration back to the Republican Party? That's right, only after President Trump was no longer in office and Joe Biden had become president in 2021. Woke Eddie Gallrein, not just a Trump hater, a Trump traitor.
hey, you got to play the game.
That one's equally like ridiculous.
Not
to
just
me,
a Trump hater, a Trump traitor.
Now there might be some people who are swayed by this, but honestly, I'm more annoyed by the lying on it. I'm like, just be honest about it. You didn't like Trump. Okay, just be honest about it. Is that going to matter? No, probably not. J.D. Vance didn't like Trump. You know,
he's the vice president.
He's the vice president now. Lindsey Graham didn't like Trump. Now he's constantly trying to blow him. And then, there's plenty of people who didn't like Trump and who become Trump's best friends. And in fact, I think Trump actually enjoys that more. Getting someone who like despised him to come and like get down on their knees before him. I think that makes him feel more powerful. And so, Rubio, that's another one.
His own wife, Melania, doesn't like him.
And so is this going to matter to the MAGA people? No, because Trump has told them to vote for him. So that's, what matters to me is I just wish they'd be honest about it, but this is politics. They're not going to be honest about stuff. So
Massie could do something, I don't know, in a year or two. And if Trump likes it, he'll call him the greatest congressman to ever live. Then Kentucky's lucky to have him.
Yeah.
And because of him, what's funny, the funniest part about why I'm optimistic about this and why I think it's funny is in the 4th district, Massie outperformed Trump and has in every single election that Trump has been a part of. So Massie wins at like, what's the average? 80% and an 80% clip, where Trump, I think the highest he carried was 74 or 75%. So even when Trump, carried the highest he ever did, Massie still outpaced him. And that's why I'm still optimistic about this, is because it doesn't matter what Trump does or doesn't do, as long as Massie can hold his own, which I think he is by fighting fire with fire, coming up with some ridiculous political ads himself. But it's kind of what you have to do when you're facing lies in this realm. I think he's going to be just fine. It might be closer than it was before. I think, like the 60-40 split might be closer than what Thomas Massie has had to deal with in the past. And then when it comes to the general election, Massie's going to win in a landslide again, and it's not going to matter. He's going to stay our congressman on the Republican Party. The second piece to this that you mentioned, Nate, before the show, which is Thomas Massie could easily, if he loses the Republican nomination, could easily run as an independent and still win the general election as an independent and still be the sitting Congress member for Kentucky's 4th district.
Yeah, so I'm
People know him there, and they know him well. He is a local farmer, holds many patents, very involved in the community. Has Ed even lived there a long time?
I don't know. He might have. I got no clue how long he's been there. What I'm trying to look at right now is so yeah, Massie obviously won handily in 2024, and especially in the general, but the general doesn't really count because wasn't a Democrat. Like this is a district where the Democrats are just not going to run anyone. And what I do wish I had pulled up right now, which I don't, was like how many votes Kamala Harris got in that district, or how many votes someone else, a third party, got in that district. I wouldn't want to rely on those people for votes, and that doesn't mean that Massie aligns with Democrats or anything, but Democrats do have an incentive to vote for Massie because there are times where he just isn't going to go along with everything that Trump wants to do. And it doesn't mean that Massie's a Democrat or that Democrats like Massie at all. Massie does it because he cares about what's constitutional and what his duty to the Constitution is, and in his district. Democrats do it because they hate Trump and they hate Republicans, and they're just going to vote against him. So my point in saying all this right now is, with the comment about him being able to run as an independent, is let's say Massie gets 45% and Gallrein gets 55 or something like that. Maybe it's a little bit closer, maybe it's 49 and 51, and Massie loses. And those people are hardcore Massie supporters because they've had Trump there telling them to go vote for Gallrein, and they still said, no, we're going with Massie. So you'd have to imagine, well, if he ran as an independent in the general election, he could get those people still, and then, yes, unfortunately, probably get the Democrats that exist in that district. There are probably some that exist in that district to vote for him as well. It'd be an uphill battle because you're running as an independent, don't have that major party label beside you, but he does have the fundraising capability to do that. And I do actually think there is a chance, if he were to lose, if it were a very close loss, that he'd be able to come back and run as an independent. So there you go.
There you go.
There you go. I've got a few other things in here, but I think we'll save them for Dumb Bleep of the Week. TPUSA was posting about Rhino Thomas Massie. Turning Point Action specifically posting about Trump rallies being back to stop Rhino Massie. And in my opinion, that kind of stuff is gross. Now, I know, like, Charlie Kirk is dead. He's gone. And the organization will have to move on without him. And they might eventually be different than what Charlie Kirk would have wanted. And it's difficult to ever speak for someone. But there is a lot of evidence of Charlie Kirk, even though he was very much pro-Trump, still being very much pro-Massie, even though Massie had stood up to Trump or gone against Trump a few times. I don't personally see Kirk being okay with those kind of posts going out. And the reason that matters is Turning Point and these people and these staff are still using Charlie Kirk's platform, still using his podcast, his show,
his name,
his social media page to still broadcast. And so you say, well, they don't speak for Charlie or whatever. Well, they're still posting from a social media platform. They're still literally hosting the Charlie Kirk show every day. And so I do think people can have an opinion on
money rolling.
Are you speaking? Would Charlie Kirk agree with this? Because I'm watching a show with a bunch of TPUSA guys, and it says at the bottom, the Charlie Kirk show from Charlie Kirk's page. I feel like I can have an opinion about whether or not Charlie Kirk would have liked this. It'd be different if it were just the organization going along. Even their newest tour that they just announced has Charlie Kirk on it, faded in the background. So they're still using them. And I'm just saying that because I find it to be really gross that they are doing things that I think Kirk would have definitely been against, but then also still using him as much as they can to keep everything going. And that's weird.
Got to keep that money rolling in.
I don't like it. So, okay.
Well, thanks for sharing that with us.
Just want to let you know. That's something I'm paying attention to right now. All right. I think we should go.
All right, y'all. Well, if you enjoyed that episode, I thought it was funny. I thought
it was just fun. Just easy, fun episode.
Good, fun episode.
Yeah.
And if you like Thomas Massie, then you should share the show around. Leave us a rating review on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, on YouTube. Like, comment, subscribe, hit that bell. We appreciate that very much. If you want to support this show with any of your hard-earned American dollars that unfortunately Trump is taking from you now at the gas pump, you should have invested prior to gas prices going up and the war with Iran. But, we told you guys that for...
Should have bought some oil.
Long periods of time. But you can still do it. It's low cost, $7 a month. JoinGML.com. Or if you want some products, you can visit the links in the show notes to support the sponsors that support this show. And if you do all of that, we'll be back again tomorrow for some Dumb Bleep of the Week. Until then, I hope you have a good day and a good morning, Liberty.